Hey everyone, hope you guys are having a great start to your day. I wanted to hop on and talk to you guys about a vision that I had when I was kind of in that half awake, half asleep in between place when I was waking up during the middle of the night last night. And basically it was very, very vivid. And the vision started out like this. And so it was a vision of a hammer to start with. But this wasn't an ordinary hammer. This hammer was as big as an entire building would be in real life. It was a really big hammer. And it was kind of a cartoony looking hammer, something like you might see with like pick art or, just a random cartoon image of a hammer kind of a deal. And it started off with the vision of just this hammer. Then right beside the hammer, a building came into view. And this building was really long. It was long and it was a white building and it had columns in front of it, okay? Or out at the front of the building. And so in this vision, what happened was this hammer that was beside the building, and I missed an important piece. The building on the front, like I knew from the vision that this building represented the U.S. Federal Reserve. Okay, which for those of you guys don't know, it's the central bank of the United States. Okay, so it said U.S. Federal Reserve on this building, knew exactly what it was, kind of a deal from the way that it was labeled in this vision, and that's what it was. So anyway, in this vision, the hammer, the cartoon looking hammer, was as big as the building itself. It went and it hit the building for the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Federal Reserve. And when it hit the building, it hit it hard, kind of a deal in this vision. And what happened is after it hit the building, it sent a crack straight through the building, the Federal Reserve building kind of a deal. And it cracked it and severely damaged it. And that was the end of the vision. So I wanted to read you guys a little bit because I had to do some research this morning. There were a couple of things that were mind-blowing to me as I researched stuff. So first of all, to my knowledge, I've never seen this building in real life. And I was curious because I didn't know what it looked like. And so I went and I did a Google search this morning to see what an image of the Federal Reserve building is. I would encourage you guys to go look it up too. And my jaw just about hit the floor when I found out that it is a long white building with columns in the front, just like my vision was last night. And I was like, whoa, God, that's crazy. So there was some confirmation right there for me, at least. And so sure enough, that's what it looks like if you go do like a Google search for it. But the other thing that I wanted to look at was kind of what is the U.S. Federal Reserve or the Central Bank of the United States in charge of? Because we saw that hammer hit the building and there was a big crack that caused a lot of damage to the building. And I think that that's very symbolic. So in order to know why that's symbolic, it's probably a good idea for us to know what that, institution is in charge of, right? And so apparently, if you go do a Google search, this is what it says as well. It promotes economic stability. It protects the safety of the banking and the financial system. They create and carry out monetary policy for the country. They supervise and regulate financial institutions, and they serve as the banking for the United States government. Okay, so that's what it says when you pull it up and you kind of look at what the responsibility is of the Federal Reserve. And so I think, this is Jill talking now, not Jesus. I told you what the vision was. That's what I would take to your prayer closet. But since we know that those are kind of the bullet points that this, place is in charge of, I think that we could possibly see something big that happens in the place of economic stability coming up. That could be an option. Something that has to do with the safety or the integrity of the banking or financial system being shaken soon. Something that has to do with maybe a change in monetary policy in the future. Something that could have to do with like regulations changing for financial institutions. And then just changes for banking and the U.S. government in general. But I think the crack represents a hard hit of some sort. And so I don't know exactly what that is. I would encourage you guys to go pray about that, but that's what I got. And I will remind you, I'm not sure if these two are correlated or not. They may not be. But God, a few months ago, if you guys want to go back on YouTube, it's in the archives if you want to go look. God gave me a vision of the US dollar. And basically the US dollar in this vision, it was like it caught on fire and it burned horizontally where the fire went like horizontal through the middle of the bill, not vertically, but horizontally. The fire was like this, and it burned up half the bill. And then it kind of sat there in the vision, and then eventually all the rest of the dollar burned up. And so I think that that represents possibly a devaluing of the dollar that's going to happen in the future, and then eventually the dollar will go away, is kind of what I inferred from that. And so that was another vision that I got a few months ago. I have no idea if these two things are related or not, but I wanted to remind you of both. I think that God's talking to us that eventually, and I don't know if this is soon, I don't know if this is years down the line, but I think he's saying that eventually the United States dollar will not be a thing anymore, and it's going to be devalued over time. And he was saying with this most recent vision from last night that I think that the Federal Reserve or our banking system is going to take a hit in some way, whether it's like us going into a recession, depression kind of a thing that's a little bit harder for a bit, whether it's something that has to do with changes in the system or monetary policy. I don't know, but just stay on the lookout, pray about this stuff, and we'll just watch and see. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll chat with you again soon.